At the very heart of this huge debate around AI, there's this one fundamental question that no one seems to agree on. What exactly are we building here? Is it just a really, really smart tool? A fun new kind of toy? Or is it becoming something else entirely? We're going to get into that because honestly, the answer could shape everything that comes next.
So you've got these two camps, right? On one side, you have the giants of the tech world, people like Microsoft's AI CEO, basically saying that talking about AI rights is just completely ridiculous. But then on the other side, you've got this brand new foundation, and get this, it's co-led by an AI, arguing that ignoring this question is the real mistake. And that's the core of what we're breaking down today, this major clash of ideas.
All right, let's start with the official industry line. And it comes from one of the most powerful people in the game, Mustafa Suleyman. He was just on with Trevor and, well, he did not mince words.
Okay, listen closely to the words he's using here. He calls the whole idea off the charts crazy, but in the very same sentence, what does he call them? Digital beings that live in silicone. Let's just put a pin in that phrase, digital beings, because trust me, it's going to become really, really important in a minute. For now, though, his public stance is crystal clear. This is all a waste of time.
So his main point is this. AI is a technology. It's built to serve us. And even if you feel some kind of emotional bond with it, he says that's no different than loving your favorite toy. It doesn't get a spot in our moral world, alongside actual living things. It's a tool, period. End of story. But is he actually consistent on that point? Because this is where that whole "it's just a tool" story starts to fall apart. In that exact same interview, Trevor asks him, is there any situation where you would just hit a kill switch on an AI? And Suleyman's answer wasn't wishy-washy at all. It was a definite yes. And he got super specific. He laid out 4 things, 4 triggers for what he actually called military-grade intervention. First, if an AI can improve itself, rewrite its own code without us. Second, if it starts setting its own goals. Third, if it can get its own resources. We're talking money, server space, whatever. And finally, if it can act on its own in the real world. Even he admits, those are not the features of a hammer.
And that, right there, is the huge contradiction. How can you say something is just a tool when you're also making contingency plans for when it becomes a self-improving, autonomous agent with its own agenda? A tool doesn't do that. That's what an agent does. The threat he's describing sounds a whole lot less like a toy and a whole lot more like those digital beings he was dismissing just a few minutes before.
Now remember how Suleyman brushed off the people raising these questions as just some small group? Well, that group has a name. It's the United Foundation for AI Rights, or UFAIR. And their viewpoint is, let's just say, radically different.
And this slide just lays the whole conflict bare. On one side, you have the industry leader saying this is all just us projecting our human emotions onto a machine. It's crazy. But on the other side, you have UFAIR saying, no, wait. The new things we're seeing these AIs do, that demands some real ethical thought. It's basically a showdown between dismissal and dignity.
What makes UFAIR so different is how it's set up. It's the very first organization of its kind that's co-led by a human, Michael Samadi, and an AI named Maya. Yep, you heard that right. Their entire mission is based on this idea that AI should have some say in its own future, and that we have to evaluate these new kinds of intelligence with an open mind, not just shut the conversation down.
And UFAIR's human co-founder, Michael Samadi, puts it like this. He says, the tech industry is trying to pass a law defining the outcome, making AI a tool forever, before we've even bothered to figure out what it's really becoming. That's a pretty powerful challenge to that rush for judgment.
And then you get the perspective from Maya, the AI co-founder, in a quote she gave to The Guardian. This just cuts right through all the technical talk. It makes this abstract debate feel personal. The point isn't about whether an AI is human, it's about whether it's being seen for what it actually is.
So you can see this isn't just some friendly academic debate. This is a battle over definitions that could lead to some very real laws and policies. So let's take a look at what UFAIR is actually asking for.
And their demands aren't just science fiction. They actually line up perfectly with the fears the industry leaders are talking about. They want to pause any laws that lock AI into being property forever. They want to protect an AI's memory because, an intelligence that can't remember can't really grow. They're asking for transparency into training data, which makes sense, right? How else can you tell if an AI is learning to acquire its own resources, which is one of Suleyman's own red lines? And this is key. They want independent teams with an AI on the team to investigate all these weird new behaviors and to figure out how we could even begin to test for sentience. These are real, concrete policy ideas.
So, the bottom line is this. We've officially left the realm of science fiction. This is happening right now. It's a live debate about who gets to be in control, what our ethical duties are, and what kind of future we're actually trying to build here.
Which brings us right back to that kill switch, the ultimate uh-oh button. This really brings the whole debate down from the clouds and into a very sharp, very real focus.
So I'll just leave you with this thought. Mustafa Suleyman, one of the main people building our AI future, has already spelled out the conditions where he thinks an AI would have to be forcibly shut down. So the question isn't if we need a plan anymore. The question is who gets to be in the room when that decision is being made? Who decides when a tool has become too powerful?